You are 21 years old when the army tells you that the map you grew up with is too small. Your name is Haruto Nakajima. In Nagoya, your life before the Pacific War is ordinary enough that you once mistake boredom for a problem. You repair cameras in the back of your uncle's photography shop. Your father, Masao, works for the railway. Your mother, Chiyo, keeps the household accounts with terrifying precision. Your 17-year-old sister, Hana, wants to become a nurse. And Aki Morita, the woman you expect to marry, works at a textile office 3 streets away. Japan has already been fighting in China for years. Japanese forces seized Manchuria in 1931, and full-scale war with China began in 1937. By 1941, further Japanese expansion has brought severe American economic pressure, especially on oil. Japanese leaders fear that without access to Southeast Asian resources, the empire will eventually be forced to retreat or accept American terms. Nobody asks what you think. Already serving with the Imperial Japanese Army's 16th Division, you begin moving south in late 1941. Some men still expect negotiations. Others say the coming attack will force America to make peace quickly. On December 8, 1941, Philippine time, the rumors end. Japan attacks American and British positions across the Pacific and Southeast Asia after the strike on Pearl Harbor hours earlier across the international dateline. Japanese aircraft hit airfields in the Philippines, and advanced landings begin almost immediately. Your part of the invasion comes ashore on Luzon. At first, the campaign moves frighteningly fast. Japanese forces land at several points and drive toward Manila. American and Filipino troops eventually withdraw toward Bataan, where they can defend the entrance to Manila Bay. You march through heat, refugees, and military traffic, while Japanese aircraft dominate much of the sky. Officers speak as though victory is a schedule. On January 2, 1942, Japanese forces enter Manila after it has been declared an open city. Aki's first letter reaches you weeks later. Nagoya has heard the victories announced on the radio: Malaya, Hong Kong, the Philippines, then Singapore as Japanese forces spread into the Netherlands, East Indies, and Burma. She writes one sentence twice: "Come back before I get old." You show it to no one. The campaign is not over. Bataan turns the quick timetable into a grinding fight. Disease, shortages, difficult terrain, and stubborn American-Filipino resistance slow the Japanese advance, and early attacks fail to break the defenders as easily as expected. Reinforcements and more artillery are brought forward. You learn that tropical mud ruins polished equipment, and that a campaign shown as arrows on a map can stop cold against one machine gun position. Bataan finally surrenders on April 9th, 1942. Corregidor, the fortified island at the mouth of Manila Bay, holds out until May 6th. Then, victory shows you something you were never taught how to name. Columns of exhausted American and Filipino prisoners are forced away from Bataan. Many are already sick or starving, guards beat men who fall behind, food and water are grossly inadequate, and thousands die during the march in captivity. You are not one of the principal guards, but you see enough to know this is not the clean surrender described in announcements. Watching one prisoner lift another from the road, you begin questioning everything training taught you about the supposed shame of surrender. Your division remains in the Philippines as a garrison force. The Great Offensive War continues without you. In June 1942, vague reports reveal a major Japanese naval defeat at Midway. Carriers gone, veteran air crews gone, plans changed. Then, Guadalcanal becomes a name men stop joking about. American forces land there in August. After months of fighting, ship losses, and hunger, Japan evacuates surviving troops in February 1943. The empire is still huge, but Japan is no longer choosing every battlefield. In Manila, occupation becomes another kind of war. Filipino guerrillas operate beyond firm Japanese control. Civilian networks carry intelligence, and anti-guerrilla reprisals deepen fear and hostility. Because you understand delicate equipment, you move into signals and transport work, repairing field telephones, reconnaissance cameras, and damaged radios. That job introduces you to Lieutenant Koji Takeda. You dislike him immediately. Takeda is 30, educated, and painfully precise. He once punishes you for accusing a civilian translator without evidence. "You guessed," he says, "so are you comfortable being judged by guesses?" You decide he is arrogant. Months later, he becomes the person you blame for destroying your life. Your letters from home remain almost aggressively cheerful. In late 1943, your detachment carries radio equipment between islands when an attack tears open the transport before dawn. You survive by clinging to floating wreckage until another Japanese craft collects you. Several men vanish, Records are confused, and for weeks your original unit does not know whether you survived. Takeda submits the casualty paperwork. Unknown to you, your family receives notice that you are missing and believed dead. By early 1944, the strategic picture is impossible to hide. Allied forces have advanced through the Solomons and New Guinea, while another drive pushes west across the Central Pacific. Strong Japanese garrisons are often bypassed and isolated. American submarines devastate shipping, so fuel, ammunition, medicine, and food become harder to move across an empire made of islands. Then, Saipan falls in July 1944. The loss matters far beyond one island. The Marianas give the United States bases from which B-29 bombers can reach the Japanese home islands. Prime Minister Hideki Tojo's cabinet falls shortly afterward. For you, the strategic crisis arrives as an order. The 16th Division is sent to Leyte. Commanders expect the Americans to return to the Philippines, but nobody knows exactly where the decisive landing will come. Before leaving Manila, a bag of delayed mail reaches you. There is one letter from Hana. The handwriting looks wrong. She tells you the army informed the family months earlier that you were missing and probably dead. Then she tells you Aki is married. Her husband is Koji Takeda's younger brother, Ren. You stop reading. Takeda is standing 10 meters away. You cross the room and hit him. Men pull you back before you can hit him again. You knew. Takeda wipes blood from his mouth. Yes, the word nearly gets him attacked again. He knew because Ren had written to him. He also knew his brother had begun helping your family after your father became seriously ill. Takeda insists he did not know Aki's decision until later. You knew enough. Takeda does not defend himself. You hate him even more for that. The division moves to Leyte before you can learn the rest. On October 20th, 1944, the horizon fills with ships. American forces land on Leyte with enormous naval and air support. General Douglas MacArthur returns to the Philippines. The Japanese command had expected to make its main stand elsewhere, but Leyte now becomes a battle Japan decides it must contest with major reinforcements. The 16th Division is already on the island. Naval shells tear into positions that took weeks to prepare. The balance has reversed since 1941. American aircraft dominate when weather permits, and offshore guns answer positions Japanese artillery can barely reach. Telephone lines are repeatedly cut, runners vanish, radios fail. Officers often know only what is happening directly around them. Then, the Navy gambles almost everything. From October 23rd to 26th, Japanese naval forces converge on the Philippines in the Battle of Leyte Gulf, approaching from several directions while carriers help draw American forces away. The gamble fails disastrously. Much of Japan's remaining surface fleet is destroyed or crippled, and it never again operates as a comparable battle fleet. Around Leyte, organized kamikaze attacks also begin, using pilots in deliberate suicide strikes against Allied ships as conventional Japanese air power deteriorates. Men around you call it devotion. You wonder what word the pilots would use if nobody else could hear them. Tokyo sends reinforcements through Ormoc, but Allied aircraft and naval forces hammer transports and supply routes. Malaria and hunger weaken men before American bullets reach them. By November, your meals shrink. By December, meal is an optimistic word. Takeda calculates rice distribution one evening and quietly removes his own portion. You tell him pretending to be noble will not make you forgive him. I'm not asking you to. Then, why did your brother marry Aki? He looks at you for a long time. Ask her when you get home. You almost laugh. You still think we're going home? Takeda does not answer. The American advance squeezes Japanese positions toward the mountains and western side of Leyte. The 16th Division, which helped conquer the Philippines in 1941 to 42, is now being shattered there. Units shrink into fragments. Infantrymen, artillery crews, signalmen, and supply troops fight beside whoever remains. One morning, 3 young replacements join your group. When Shun asks how to know whether shelling is close, you answer, "You'll know," and hate yourself because someone told you the same thing in 1941. The situation becomes desperate enough that Captain Ishida, now commanding the survivors around you, speaks openly about a final attack. The language is familiar: honor, emperor, death before capture. But you have watched enough attacks vanish under automatic weapons to understand what the speech means physically. Half-starved men will charge ground already covered by American mortars and machine guns. Shun looks terrified. Ishida orders the attack for before dawn. That night, you give Shun and 2 younger soldiers empty water containers. There is a spring east of here. Shun stares at you. We were told nobody leaves. You are not leaving. You are finding water. There is no spring east of here. Then you may have to search for a very long time. He understands. One soldier refuses. Another starts crying without making sound. Takeda has heard everything. You wait for him to call the captain. Instead, he asks, "How much water do you think 3 men can carry?" "As much as possible." Takeda signs a movement slip. Now both of you are guilty. The attack begins without them. It fails almost immediately. American automatic fire and artillery tear apart the formation. You survive because a blast throws you into a depression before you reach the open ground. When you crawl back hours later, Captain Ishida is alive and furious. Someone has told him what you did. Shun. You cannot believe it. Ishida has you dragged forward. Before you can explain yourself, Shun steps between you. "I reported him because I did not want another man punished for it." One of the young soldiers had been caught returning, and Ishida was preparing to blame Takeda for signing the paper. Shun confessed because he believed the captain would punish 1 guilty man instead of 3 recruits and a lieutenant. Ishida draws his sword. Then American artillery begins again. The trial ends because the position ceases to exist. You, Takeda, Shun, and fewer than a dozen others escape into the hills. From that point, the war stops resembling an organized campaign. There are no reliable supply lines. You eat roots, stolen rice, whatever can be found. Filipino guerrillas control growing areas and provide intelligence to American forces. Villagers who once had to obey Japanese patrols can now see the occupation collapsing, and you understand why many hate the uniform you wear. One evening, your group approaches a hut looking for food. An old Filipino woman stands in the doorway with a kitchen knife. Takeda tells everyone to move on. A starving soldier protests. Takeda says, "Then take my boots and eat them." Nobody laughs. By early 1945, the United States has returned to Luzon. Marines land on Iwo Jima in February, and on April 1st, US forces invade Okinawa, bringing a massive battle much closer to Japan. You know almost none of the details. Your world is a wet mountain on Leyte. News comes as rumors from captured papers, distant radios, or frightened civilians. Germany has surrendered in Europe. Okinawa is being lost. Japanese cities are burning under B-29 raids from the Marianas. Nagoya is one of the cities hit heavily as the bombing campaign devastates Japan's major industrial centers. You think of your mother, Hana, Aki, Ren Takeda, the man you have decided stole the life that should have been yours. Takeda finally tells you what Ren wrote before communications collapsed. After your family was told you were dead, your father's illness worsened. Ren used railway contacts to obtain medicine and extra food, then helped move your mother and Hana away from dangerous industrial districts as bombing intensified. Aki waited for months before your mother finally told her to stop waiting for a dead man. So he saved them. Takeda nods. And married her. Yes, the truth ruins the simplicity of your anger. You imagined Ren as a thief. Now you must imagine him carrying your sick father while you were thousands of kilometers away and officially dead. Your father dies before the worst raids. Your mother and Hana survive. You still do not know whether Aki does. In the summer of 1945, starvation becomes the center of every day. Men surrender individually despite years of indoctrination telling them capture is disgrace. Others refuse and disappear deeper into the mountains. Shun asks you whether surrender really means dishonor. In 1941, you would have known the approved answer. Now you say, "I think dead men are very easy to lecture." Takeda smiles. It is the first time you realize you no longer hate him. Then August brings news so strange that nobody believes it. On August 6th, an atomic bomb destroys Hiroshima. On August 8th, the Soviet Union declares war on Japan and moves against Japanese forces in Manchuria. On August 9th, a second atomic bomb strikes Nagasaki. The empire you were told would never surrender is suddenly discussing surrender. On August 15th, Emperor Hirohito's recorded voice announces acceptance of the Allied terms. For most Japanese subjects, it is the first time they have heard him speak. In the Leyte Mountains, you first hear the news from a Filipino farmer. The war finished. Nobody believes it. Takeda finds a working radio 2 days later. The message is real. Captain Ishida, who somehow survived and reappeared with another scattered group, refuses to accept it. He says the broadcast could be enemy deception and orders everyone to prepare for another attack. Nobody moves. For the first time, men simply refuse Ishida. He looks directly at you. You started this. Before you can answer, Shun says, "The Emperor ordered us to stop." Takeda stands beside him. Then another man. Then another. Ishida slowly lowers his arm. The war ends without your final attack. That feels more shocking than any explosion. You surrender weeks later. An American soldier searches you, takes your weapon, and points toward a collection area. You expect humiliation. Mostly, you feel tired. Japan formally signs the surrender on September 2, 1945, aboard USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. You do not return home immediately. Processing camps, medical checks, and months of waiting follow, while Japanese personnel scattered across Asia and the Pacific are repatriated. When you finally reach Nagoya in 1946, bombing has erased whole districts. Hana finds you at the station. She is 22 now. For a moment, she only looks at you. Then she says, "You're inconvenient." You start laughing. She starts crying. Your mother is alive. Aki is alive too. She is still married to Ren. You meet them because avoiding them would mean allowing the war to make one more decision for you. Aki does not apologize. "I mourned you," she says. "Then I had to live." Ren confirms that he helped your family before there was anything between them, simply because they needed help. There is no villain available. You almost wish there were. You thank him. You do not ask Aki to come back. Years later, you notice how clean war looks on maps. Arrows expand from Japan through Southeast Asia, then reverse through Guadalcanal, New Guinea, the Central Pacific, the Philippines, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. The arrows do not show the prisoner on the Bataan Road. They do not show Shun carrying an empty water container to avoid a suicidal attack. They do not show an old Filipino woman protecting one bowl of rice with a kitchen knife. You return to camera repair because lenses still obey rules. But you photograph almost nobody. Then, one afternoon, Shun visits. He survived too. He places a cheap camera on your counter. It's broken. You open it. Nothing is wrong with it. You came all this way for this? No. He has brought his wife and a baby daughter. He asks you to take their photograph. You raise the camera. You take the photograph anyway. For once, nobody is standing where an officer ordered them to stand. And that is exactly why you keep it.